All right. We have a spectacular show planned for you tonight. We're still locked up, locked down, quarantined, but we're still having fun. Tonight, we just are grateful that we're still in the land of the living with another chance to get closer to destiny. We have with us some distinguished young people, and we're going to talk, in case you didn't know, Sunday is Father's Day, and we're going to talk to some wonderful, wonderful men that are role models in this society. We have Joseph Howard with us tonight. We have Robert Camper. Hey, Joe. Oh, Robert. Okay. And then we have Ice with us. And the one and only Andrew Paxton. Also, our engineer will be coming in every 9 days. Our Joshua Camper, along with Jacob Camper. Amen.
Yeah, good. Thank you for inviting me to the show.
Oh, shit. I have the most important person now. This is a statue that I purchased about maybe 15 years ago. And it means a lot to me because I raised a lot of men, and I always told them that you need to have a head on your shoulders. And this is a man without a head on his shoulders. So I hope that you are a man with a head on your shoulders tonight. Okay then, let's take it slow. We're going to start off talking about Juneteenth. And as you all know, that it's the time that, as old as I am, I didn't know our history like I know it now. And I've always celebrated the 4th of July and went out to celebrate our freedom and the things that we were able to accomplish. But it wasn't really our history and it wasn't really our destiny. And so now I'm finding out so many, and I'm open for new things. So I'm finding about Juneteenth. And I think our guests are going to help open up the understanding tonight. I hope you brought the tea with you. So we're just going to relax and have some good tea. Josh will pour the tea. Okay, who wants to get started?
What is your question? What do you want to talk about? Juneteenth.
Juneteenth. And we want to talk about why is it that we are just now really discovering Juneteenth and why we're celebrating it. And we know that millennial children are really into their history. Like I said, I don't really know all of our history.
So I want to pose a question to you, Joseph. Okay, when did you learn about Juneteenth?
Well, as far as the history of it, really just a couple days ago, because I took it upon myself to research it. Once I started hearing about it, I mean, I've heard the term before, but that was the extent of it. But until I started actually trying to go back and find out the true meaning of it, that was only a couple days ago. So it made me wonder why was that? Why I'm only really interested in it within these last couple days after all is going on. So my question is, was it even in the history books when we were coming up in school? Was it overlooked? Because the reason why I asked that question is because I remember in history classes, you know, going through that thick book, you know, we would start off at the beginning of the book, the first few bits, and then we'll skip and we'll go midway all to the middle part of a big book, and then we'll go to the end. So I know it was a lot of stuff that was looked over and probably was done intentionally. And, you know, because that was the way it was back then, the teaching, we probably never went back to see what was skipped over. You understand what I'm, so my question is, was it an intentional thing that was done to make us not even know about it? Or was it taught to us and we had no interest and we forgot about it?
Learned about it last year. Truthfully, I mean, I've never heard of it. I mean, I heard of the day that was set up, that was made, that we were free. The part of as far as the celebration of it, I just learned about it last year when the guy from the Pullman Museum over there on 103rd behind Corliss, David, when he had a Juneteenth event.
Hey, you know what? This brother Jacob. It's kind of ironic that everybody only know bits and pieces. The history of Juneteenth is in 1865, Emancipation Proclamation. The slaves were free, but the slave master didn't tell the slaves. So the slaves worked almost 3 years. And then when whites visit the South, they say, "Hey, are you guys getting paid for indentured servants?" They say, "No." And he said, "Well, you know, y'all been set free." So the slaves were kept out of the history of that they were set free, just like we don't know. When pressure controls your books and your education, you're gonna lack the knowledge that you need.
Well,
So for myself, I've probably known about Juneteenth for 15 to 20 years, literally. I have heard that it's not a real holiday. Just today, I asked my mother, you know, do she remember teaching this? And you know, she didn't know about it. And I can appreciate honesty. I asked her also about Black holidays and how many we had. And she answered one for Dr. Martin Luther King. And for a lot of us, especially those of us who knew that, okay, well, this is a real thing. When your parents and your leaders, the people who control your information, when they fail to substantiate what you're learning, then you don't take it as truth. You don't take it as, so I say to say this. This is indicative of exactly what Juneteenth was when it happened. It was so overlooked. It was so passed over. It was a rumor. It was literally, they had lied to slaves so much that for 2.5 years, and then there were even rumors of the people coming out to inform the slaves that they were free, and people in Texas were killing them. They were killing them. But it's ironic that we don't even know it's a holiday because they never told us. That I have a hard time blaming Black people for everything when your captor writes the story. The winner, when we are captors, this proves it. We're in captivity here. We're being contained. We do not live in America. Now, I just read a story today that said that the military were using choppers. Now, we didn't hear them, but throughout these protests for George Floyd, they brought the military because we're captors here. In order for the police to look at you in a certain way, you're still property. Nothing has changed. Nothing has. The very fact that this perfect storm erupted, the pandemic, killing as many niggas as it can, which means that this was a weapon aimed at us. There has to be a genetic disposition for this to attack so many black people. That's biological warfare. But then we have a stimulus package, which our government takes out $2.2 trillion. And I don't know how many people on this call can say that they had a stimulus check. You know what I mean? Like, did it reach the people? In a lot of ways, it did not. But then you had these corporate billionaires, these corporate entities that got all of the money, and then we're going to have to bear the brunt of the burden. What has changed?
Hey, Rob, I want to
challenge because that's the exact same explanation to slavery.
Hey, Rob,
nothing has changed.
Hey, look, I like the terminology you used, that this was the perfect storm. They did not expect 2020 to be the way it is. They sent people home for 4 months. You have the COVID scare and different things. This was like the perfect storm. But the difference between the slaves and the modern day black man today, the slaves knew that they were slaves. We're slaves today, and we don't acknowledge that we're slaves because we don't have no hospitals, we don't have any banks, we don't control our economy. We spend more than any other people in the world, but we have nothing. So we're slaves, and we don't even acknowledge that we're slaves.
So can I rebut to what you just said? Because I'm sorry, but I have to disagree. Did slaves have banks? How many banks did the slaves have? Did they have a union?
But they knew that
they have corporate backing.
They knew they were slaves.
Wait a minute. Could they vote? That, my friend, is the only difference. The only difference is we could vote, but everything's the same. Understand something about Black Wall Street. Black Wall Street showed white Americans that we never want to let this happen again. What it showed them is that we don't want to compete with them, because even with us cheating, we won. We fucking won. We have everything. We won, and we're still cheating. We don't want to be fair with these people. We've given them nothing. They're still beating us. Why do you think they want the sports to start back? Niggas don't share in that wealth. Why do you think they want the World Trade Center and the stocks and the economy to start back? Niggas don't trade in that wealth. We don't have it. It don't belong to us. That's their money. We're the slaves. And believe it or not, by the grace of God, he sent a little nigga boy in the hood to come die at the right time, the right way. These are the people I'm talking about. It's not everybody. It doesn't belong to everybody. But we cannot continue to blame Black people when our captors have been inhumane, when our captors have been liars, thieves. Understand something. Rape came from somewhere. We're a product of rape. We didn't bring ourselves over here.
Well, I'd like to jump in for a minute. When I did a little research, we were still enslaved in our mind. So when they found out that people were free, we had people that had been raised on plantation for a whole decade. And they weren't about to just walk off from Mr. John's land. They just kept working. And people came over on books, trapping baggers and different people. And still Black people that they were free. You can go now. This is a perfect example because we are not being heard. Even though we're speaking, we're crying out, we're trying to produce, we're doing what society expects of us in our education, bringing our children up the right way, going to church, and they're not hearing us. They didn't hear my generation. They didn't hear my grandmother, my grandfather's generation. But our children that have been intercepted with the blood of the master, they think different, they act different, they're fearless. in my generation, it wasn't nothing for your mother to hit you with a chair and it was okay. But they told me, don't hit your children with anything. So my children grew up like wild people, fearless. I wouldn't dare ask the police, why did you pull me over? Because I was brought up to be afraid of democracy and people that were in authority. But my children are not afraid, and their children would die rather than to get in. And that's who we have in the streets protesting now. Children that have been mixed in with different blood types, all generations. You have people that took other people's lives and didn't care about it and cut their body parts off, and some that have even eaten body parts. And our children have been indoctrinated with those people. And because of that, we have a different generation. And back here in 1863, they were so afraid they would not have walked off the farm. They said, Massa, I'm gonna stay here. What you gonna do? He said, I'll give you a chicken if you work a month. A chicken that they never were able to get when they worked on the farm and they were slaves. And then when they finally became free in 1865 and got a push, even though many had fought in the Union Army to help free their people, they still were afraid to leave. They would say, I don't want to leave because I don't want to leave my wife. I don't want to leave my 8 kids. I don't want to leave my mother. Not knowing that you didn't have to pay the freedom now. They were free to go. And today, if you make a comparison of today, we're still incarcerated. We're locked down. We're quarantined. We're messed up. And we don't know what real freedom is. Freedom is when we come out of this, because the whole world has stopped right now. We should come out as entrepreneurs, owning our own business. Okay, you burnt the other businesses down. Now what are you going to replace them with? And somebody said, well, I don't have a lot of money. I don't know how to take my money. Slade said the same thing. I can't leave Mr. John's farm because we don't have no money. We ain't got no money. It ain't about the money. It's about the start. Pull up by your bootstraps and get out there and work together. This is something that our race lacks, working together to accomplish what we need to do for the next generation that's coming in.
Velma, I have a question to ask you.
Okay, go ahead, D.I.
Is your generation ready to stand back up and lead the misguided, the misinformed generation that's out there protesting? Because they have the energy, they just don't have the wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. So your generation needs to step back up, open its arms, accept that the young generation isn't well prepared, and just come together. That's a problem that we're facing.
Well, D.I.
Good question, brother. Good question.
Absolutely not. There is nobody in my generation that's willing to lead. But Dr. Martin Luther King was here and he was nonviolent. How many Dr. Martin Luther Kings arose up after him? We've been taught, we've been brainwashed on how to act a certain way. The new millennium generation is off the hook. And after a while, a leader will emerge from them. Yes, a leader is going to emerge from them. And that leader is going to walk through the fire of hell and through death to accomplish what we could not accomplish.
You know what, Sister Camper, to piggyback on what Brother D.I. said, which was an excellent point, is that one of the reasons I like your ministry, your age group did not move with technology. You warned a lot of people from a lot of different ministries, hey, you have to get in the tech world, you have to get tech people. You called it a long time ago and you moved forward. And I like the way that you are working with the millennials to move to the next level. So the Brother D.I., he asked an excellent question, but a lot of people are fearful of the older generation because what they did didn't work. My son is 16 years old, and he said, Dad, when I studied history, you guys were marching with suits on and your Sunday best on. He said, our generation, we got sweatshirts and boots. We're ready to tear it up to get what we want. And I had to think about that for a second, because the new generation is looking at what Dr. King wanted in the 1960s. We haven't gotten anything. But the new generation is tired of being lied to. As a matter of fact, I know this show is not really about Donald Trump, but Donald Trump, he talked about an executive order for the police department, and it was meaningless because he didn't back it up with funding, and it was just a suggestion to the police department. So the new generation is not falling for the same tricks we fell for.
The new generation is Malcolm. That's all they got in their mind by any means necessary. They don't care. They got Malcolm running through their blood. So how do we engage the young generation with the old generation without the old generation throwing out that favorite word? Y'all don't know what we've been through. Y'all don't know how it's supposed to be done. Well, it's a different mindset going on right now. The older generation marched in peace. Well, the young generation is saying we ain't marching in peace. We're gonna tear this motherfucker up if we got to, excuse my French. That's what they saying. And they're ready to die. They're ready to die for the cause. So how do we engage that energy that they got, turn it into some positive energy, but not all the way out to where they feel like they bowing down? Because the last thing they're gonna do is bow down. Like Velma said, the police pull up on them. The first thing they saying is, "Why you pull me over?" They rebellious all the way around. So,
Ms. Kemper, B-Ice made a really good point about the young people. Here's the question: your personal opinion, based upon what D-Ice was saying, what are the older people doing to give instruction to the younger people, based upon the movement of making real change? Not no make you feel good change, some real change.
Well, when we marched with Dr. King, I think we accomplished a lot. Because I remember when you couldn't go in the same toilet or drink from the same fountain. Couldn't eat at the restaurant, couldn't go to the hotel that other people went to. So we accomplished a lot. And then we came on to the next generation. You say the Malcolm generation, they accomplished what they did. But now this generation now, this is a new breed. All we can do is sit back and watch the party.
Can you hear?
We don't have, yeah, I hear you, Rob. Okay. We don't have the nerve that this next generation has. And like I said, because they were raised, okay, we used to have cats. And my husband didn't want any more cats. So there was one cat we loved, and we just put her in the garage. So when she had a litter, the litter was in the garage. And wow, this is what happened to our children that are out there protesting. They were raised by themselves. They gave their own.
No, they wasn't.
Wait a minute.
I disagree.
How many computers do you have in your house? How many phones do your son have? That my children stay on these phones like this. And when you ask them, wait a minute, when you ask them something, they don't go for a book. They go ask Siri.
All right, let me tell you why I disagree. And D, if you don't mind, I'm gonna hit your question too. I'm gonna hit it all in one shot.
Let's go, bro.
I ain't had no mic. So we gotta put it all together. So what's happening is this. You ask a question.
Hey, welcome back, Rob.
What can we do? Thank you, sir. I'm glad to be here. What can we do to join the young with the old, right? So that we can put together the strength with the wisdom. Am I right?
Right.
Not a goddamn thing. Keep them old, scary, antiquated, no fighting, no, I'm a suffer, no, I'm a go without, no, I'm a fight until I'm dead niggas away from my young kids. And I'm gonna tell you what. It took 400 years for niggas to build the right generation. It took do you have children? Do you have children?
I got 8. I got 13 of them.
Woo! I would hate to meet any one of them niggas in the alley because I see they daddy.
Right. Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Now here's the deal. I'm gonna keep it funky with you. You will make a deal with the white man. He had till 2019 to make a deal with daddy. The motherfucking kid want everything you got to give me. I ain't taking no shorts, and you gonna get. Have you ever took your 13 kids on a trip in a car? Dad, are we there yet? Daddy, when we gonna get there, Daddy? Daddy, where we gonna get? Daddy, how much longer we gonna die there? Take no for an answer. Let me ask you a question. Did you realize that this generation of millennials that are out here, we raised them on computers, they research for fun?
Yeah.
We was raised on Mario Brothers. We were just introduced. Our children had an encyclopedia in their hands from birth.
Yeah.
You had to deal with me in 2019 because my daughter ain't taking no shorts.
But if your history was distorted, Siri is telling your children whatever she wants to.
We're not worried about Siri right now because God is working. See, you gotta understand something. They taken everything. And guess what? In the midst of your giving back, I'm giving you back your Jesus, motherfucker.
Rob,
Jesus wasn't as good to me.
Hey, Rob, it's two good points that you made.
Wait a minute. When we start to discuss the bestiality, the brutality, when we start to discuss the potential that you've killed, when you start to discuss that you was too afraid to compete with me as a man, I don't want to talk about Jesus, nigga. I want to talk about reparations.
And look, before we get
Jesus means you're not very humanly. You're not very godly, so I don't want to discuss that with you. I want to talk about what you did.
Hey Rob, I love your teachings because you made a great point. You was like, the oppressor has not been a good human being.
He's not a good human being. He's not a good friend.
The nature can say that, and every human being that has ever walked this planet can say that the oppressor has not been a good human being. But another point you made was, when you had a question to grandparents, I got a friend from Korea. He said, we call our grandparents the living ancestors. I found that to be so deep because it's deeper than a grandparent, my living ancestors. And then a third point that you made, I want Brother Joseph and Brother D-Ice to spin off on it, was when you mentioned about God working, God gotta be working. I'm not a very religious person, but I'm spiritual. Anytime you close down the NBA, the NFL, the MLB, you send millions of people home and you give people a check, they shut the world down. I say, could nobody do this but God? Because he wants to talk to us and he gave us this opportunity to shut up and listen.
I have one more point to give y'all before you start speaking. I want to put you in the context of the world that you're living in. You are currently living in a world to where you gentlemen as Black men that I'm looking at, you gentlemen that are Black men that pay taxes, that have children, that have lives, that give to the society, you're not as valuable as they motherfucking dogs. Okay, I'm waiting for you. Go ahead.
So my question would be, because I just had this conversation with somebody else. With all the knowledge and understanding that we got right now and today, why is it so difficult for us to take over this world?
We're easily pacified, sir.
Well, who are we? Because what generation we talking about? The young generation ain't easy.
Every one of them. Every one of them. See, when people talk about systemic, that means it is woven into the fibers of your world. When you talk proper, what do they call it?
Cooning.
What do they call it when you speak proper English?
Proper English.
You're talking what?
Uppity.
That means
You talk when you go to work. You're talking white.
Howard said,
White.
what you said, Joe?
I was answering a question that means that they say that means you're talking white.
Right.
So what ends up happening is that gives them the ownership of our language. That gives them priority of our language. And with that, they use it against us. Because if you don't learn that language, if you don't learn to articulate yourself, we're not going to let you in our corporations.
Hey, Brother D-Ice, I can see your mind going. That was a good point that you made. There's a book that I read called How Europe Underdeveloped Africa. And they asked the same question. And based upon that book is when they took over Africa, they split up among themselves. And they said the way we keep them divided, you found one coon and you give him an extra biscuit, and he will sell his whole people out.
Right. But what I was saying to Rob was, now that we got this rebellious generation, because they not easily pacified.
We got to get them out the way.
We got to
We
get
couldn't
them.
answer their questions. See, here's the thing. We couldn't answer their questions. But we did one important thing. We did something that was so important. I'm going to show you how important the black man and the black woman is. Every generation, from this is my mother. Velma is my mother. All right. I don't know if you know.
I know.
From my mother. What they did was, and going back before that, every generation educated their children.
Right.
It was not time. Because if it was time for us to get there, God would have allowed it to happen. Let me tell you something. If the coronavirus would have happened only in America, they wouldn't have told the rest of the world, just like they didn't tell us niggas we was free. God damn it. And we only ones died, and they'd have made it up and said we did it to ourselves. But everybody's watching. It's happening to everybody.
Right.
History only repeats itself. What we have to do it. Let me tell you, I'm gonna tell you the coldest slaves in the world. The coldest slaves in the world was only enslaved for a number of days, 30 at tops.
The ones that walk
out the fucking boats.
The ones that walk back in the water.
Back in the water. I'd rather go to God than to go to wherever you got me going. I don't like the accommodations.
Right,
you
right.
Motherfuckers didn't build the streets right.
And I want to say to D-Ice, the part that you said is, why aren't we taking over the world? We can't even take over our community. We can't even take over our home. Homes are disarray. Our men are walking out of the homes. Young men are raising themselves, and then they're going over to do other things that they shouldn't be doing because there's not a father in the home. And everybody runs from the neighborhood. Nobody want to live in certain neighborhoods. They run to somebody else's neighborhood. We have grocery stores, and we'll run across the city to other grocery stores. It comes first in the home. Sitting down, we can't even talk to our children. We've been locked up, quarantined, locked in, and I didn't even realize that we were not speaking to each other in the morning. Everybody's getting up, just going.
Oh yeah, don't nobody say hi to nobody no more.
Exactly. When our children have a problem, how many times do we sit down and we discuss that problem with them? Instead, we just let them go astray with it. Our young girls going astray with it.
Well, what I think, I think, and what I see a lot of my generation are being dads. They are keeping the home together. I'm 50. So I'm a 60s baby, a late 60s baby. And I think my 69 to 75 year born dads are starting to step up, and we are having kids that we are raising. So I don't think it's too far from where the day will come where we are at least hitting corporate America a little bit, being able to manufacture, because the wheels are moving. It's really all about getting the money to start.
You know, earlier in the talk, Bama talked about pulling yourself up by your bootstraps. I swear for God, I hate that term.
Man, I hate it.
Because what it substantiates is the fact that, and this is just how I see it, the fact that when niggas used to work all day long, picking cotton, oh, goddamn day, 15, 20-minute breaks. One, maybe two, this time. They still call them niggas lazy. I can show them some lazy niggas.
Yeah.
But slaves wasn't lazy. Now let me ask you this question. What person that you know pull themselves up by their own goddamn bootstraps?
Nobody in this world. Everybody needs a hand.
In this world. There is a African proverb that says, one hand, there's my hand, cannot wash itself. Think about that. It shows you that people need people. One hand, it can't wash itself. You can't even wash your ass without some help. Do you realize that the Moors taught white people sanitation? They taught them how to live. They taught them civilization.
Yeah.
They turned around and used it against them.
Yeah.
Did you know that 50 years ago, the people that we know as Republicans were Democrats?
Yeah.
10 years before that, they were Republicans. They go with the money and the votes and with industry. So you can't trust none of them. They're all friends. Every one of them are friends. You can't trust none of them.
Hey, look, when I look at the panel, again, I'm gonna repeat myself. Sister Camper, when I see your ministry, I like the fact that you move with technology, and that's what made you advance. But when I look at all of these brothers on the panel, it touches my heart because Black men have been overlooked. Our thoughts have been overlooked. Our decision making has been overlooked. And everybody that's on this panel are good fathers, and that has been overlooked. And so the question I have for the panel, I'm gonna throw it out there. How do you guys feel about reparations? And one article came out by Mr. Johnson that owned BET. He said that every person of color, Black people, should get $350,000. I thought that was a pretty good settlement for reparations. And Brother Rob said that's not enough money. So how do y'all?
If you're not giving each person $10 million, take that reparation and shove it. For all the heart, for everything that they have ever done to the Black race, I wouldn't accept nothing less than 10 million. Can you hear me?
I heard you. And look, I was happy with my 350,000. You said 10 million.
You gotta understand. You know, without Blacks, this world is not in existence. They don't know how to create nothing. The best thing they created was the patent. They don't know how to create nothing. So just imagine if you take the early settlers or the early slaves or all our great Blacks who invented things, without them, this world wouldn't be nothing. So I think 10 million is small. But I'll take 10.
Unlike my brother, Mr. D. Ice, I will accept 9.5 million. Hey, I'm gonna be happy though. You know, I think that one of the things we have to quantify, because America has done this before. Every time you have a punitive case, you can have a car accident. They quantify what the value of the worth is. You got to pay us for all of our lost potential. You got to pay us for every time we get in the elevator and some little ugly white woman grabs a purse and I got to think about it instead of enjoy my day. You got to pay us for every year that every one of our black men spent in prison. You got to pay us for every line cracker that put them in prison. You got to pay us for Emmett Till. That scarred me mentally as a child.
You got to pay us for putting that crack on the streets.
You feel what I'm saying? Somebody else tell me what these niggas got to pay for. Testify. Tell them.
Man. You gotta.
Hey, look, they gotta pay for 1 out of 5 white people are millionaires.
Yeah. You
gotta pay me because I got 5 niggas in my family. One of us would have won. You feel what I'm saying? They gotta pay us for all of these tall niggas working at Home Depot and in grocery stores because they didn't make it to the league.
You know what? Hey, brothers, I want to share this. I want to share this with you. Sister Camper, she graduated with her master's from Governor State, and I also attended Governor State, and I took a class there called Sustainability. It was actually the best class I've ever taken in the history of education because they said supremacy has a purpose because it guarantees you, if you limit the resources of those who are at the bottom, it guarantees your children and your children's children will be in power for another 1,000 years. Sustainability means to limit the resources of people at the bottom so you can stay at top. And then if you think about supremacy, it makes sense. But when you look at the nature of Black people, we are people that believe in sharing with everybody. And those who are in power know that if they ever share, if you ever make things equal, they will be the people accommodated at the bottom. What do y'all think about that?
I think that it doesn't have to be anywhere near equal. They make sure that they make sure that there's one nigga amongst what? 200? Look up the average corporation's numbers. Show me one corporation, including Amazon. I'll give you Walmart too. That is 100% homogenous. They don't want any competition with us. There's no competition with us. Why would they want this? Well, they've been testing it forever. Black Wall Street. We've shown that we're superior in business. Every sport we decide to play, we're the best at it.
Yeah.
And not only that, they owe us for all of our, let me tell you something. I have personally sued 2 companies and won. Look, I was nice. I changed my personality. I didn't curse. No, I did still curse, but not as much. But I made them a lot of money. They still don't want you there. You got to pay me for that. You see what I'm saying? Now, when you talk about,
hold on, Rob. Somebody asked the question about what can the older generation give the younger people? And while you guys were talking, I was thinking about, we can give you your history. You lack your history. When I grew up, our parents didn't have nearly what you all have, but they educated us. They taught us values, and they took us to church. And those were the greatest gifts they could have ever given us. And we accomplished a great deal. Now, the way your generation is talking about, I need. That's not how to be successful. Success is, I want to give. I want to give to help educate my neighbor's children. I want to give to help the older people. But you don't give back. And by you not giving, you're sitting in your car. You got 20 pairs of expensive gym shoes. And the girl next door is raising her kids by herself with no clothes. We got to learn unity, sharing. If I go in a grocery line, I'll pick another person of another persuasion rather than to go into a line with my own native person, because I know they're going to come against me. When we learn values and unity and giving, you don't need money. Money is the root of all evil and the love of it. But you need.
No, I want the money. I want the money.
It's a problem.
Look, not only do I want the money, but D-Ice need that money because he got 8 kids to get through college. That means he got to pay for 8 weddings. You need them reparations.
All they need is their daddy. All they need is
more. They gonna need more than me.
D-Nice is the first nigga I met in my life that said, I wouldn't accept $10 million. Hey, I love it. I love it.
Man, they owe us, man.
They owe us, baby.
They owe us. They owe us big time. It ain't even enough money in the world. It ain't even enough money in the world that they can give us that'll make us happy. We still gonna feel like we shortchanged.
Right. And you know what? And that's why I submit this. And I'm gonna give you guys this today. I've been holding it. They gotta make us a protected class. They've been hunting us like we're animals. They gotta make us a protected class. If you touch a nigga, it should be like a hate crime.
Yeah.
Now that will stop these police from okay. Do y'all realize that Atlanta, what is today, the 17th? Well, June 18th, today is the 18th. June 18th, Atlanta just gave all of the police officers a $500 bonus. These motherfuckers called out work last night because they was mad about the charges from one of their own killing a nigga. A bonus because they called off work and they protested. Understand,
and Atlanta
we are being hunted, and the people that are hunting us are being rewarded. They're being rewarded. I'm a Marine Corps veteran. I fought in a war for this country. I don't take no fucking shorts from them. I watched Donald Trump have all these police officers, and Obama have all these police officers out here. They had better equipment than I had in a motherfucking war. Good thing they get shot. They got better equipment as a police to protect you, and you pay their salary.
Then as a soldier.
Then as a nigga who's going to fight for the whole motherfucking country. Bunch of bullets. Not just one nigga. Right. See, they get one nigga by themselves and they kill him. You ain't never heard of the police killing a bunch of niggas together. You ain't never heard of it.
No.
Yeah, let me tell you something. I was in the military. I studied war, and you got to study animals because they study animal nature, right? What do? Divide you against the herd.
Yeah.
They keep dividing us. When Jesse could have helped us. Remember when Jesse, run Jesse, run. That was a slogan. I was a kid. Yeah, he ran his ass to the bank.
That's where he went to.
So going back to your question, even they can't do nothing for us. Be supportive, stand there. My mother is right. You can give us some history. Okay, cool. But we need warriors. Millennials don't care about race. They're not into that. They're not into it. It's not cool. They swiping. They dating. What we did in college and didn't tell nobody and didn't have no more white relationships when we came home, They brought them home, married them, had kids with them. I know. I got mixed grandkids. I love them. I love their father. But they're a different breed of species. You can't divide them and conquer them. But because of our tutelage,
what can you do to build a stronger society? What can you do?
We got to start with the families. Families got to start building first. You got to feel the fit. You got to bring the family back together. Let the family start to build, and let them build with other family members, and then that'll go on and on and on. But it's got to start in the household, and it's got to start with the family. First of all, what we need to do is we need to start creating our own bank. The money that we is making from them, we need to put it up and start flipping it. Instead of me flipping my 500, let's flip 4,500. Then that's what we need to do, and we need to create our own bank. We need to stop going to them for asking them for money, even though they print
after
it.
we get out, after you get that 10 million or so, right?
Man, after. But no, well, you know what, Rob? Truthfully,
You know, they gonna have, you gotta go to their bank, get the money out, then take it to the nigga bank.
right. So no. So basically what we got kicking off, we got the 68 cent a day program about to launch. Mm-hmm. So if we can start our own bank, 68 cents a day, we're gonna start our own banks. Eventually, now, if 10, let's say for instance, you got 30 houses on one block. If those 30 houses have a bank, we already know we're gonna have to pay our taxes and mortgages and all that. But you can't go up on our taxes is what we'll fight for. We're gonna give you what you asking for, but in the same token, we still got money that we're using to build other things. Corporate, I think, is the only way to go to even get level with them. We got to go corporate with them, but it's got to be everybody that's going corporate.
I think you have some good ideas. The ice. Number one, this whole world catastrophe has shut families down, locked them in together. And if they can find a visionary in that household, there's somebody with a vision. And just start with everybody putting their money together. And the more families that come together, your cousins, your aunts, the people down the street, pretty soon you can have as much as $30,000 a bass together. And I've seen some people start out selling corn on the streets. And I think like a year later, they're in a store.
Or give me Reverend Meek's church and let me get that $10 he collect every Sunday. I'll come up off of that.
Mm-hmm. All right. Okay. More. The churches need to be productive. They need to take all the young people and teach them to be entrepreneurs.
You know what I say? I'm surrounded by 17 churches in my neighborhood. I tell every last one of them pastors, it's too much Jesus in my neighborhood for it to look like this. What's going on?
Amen to that, brother D-Ice. Hey, but you know what, Sister Campbell, that was an excellent question that you asked. My theory is, and I prayed to God, and God gave this to me, so I'm gonna say that God gave me this. When you say the creation of life, you look at sperm, S-P-E-R-M, and sperm is what we need. We need social programs because the family unity has been broken. We also need P as in politics. We have to control our politicians. E represents two things. We need to control our economics, and we need to rewrite the books and control our education. The R stands for religion. Now, no matter what your spiritual belief is, we have to have a God that represents us and our causes. You cannot have a God that doesn't look like you and you stagnated for 400 years in the same condition. Because how can a slave and a slave master serve the same God? The M in sperm stands for media. So to Camper, and I hate to sound repetitious, but the reason I salute you because your ministry is so different from your age group. You are putting people in front of the camera so you can teach on a whole different level. And the other S for sperm, even though it's plural, is we need to have a security force to protect our interests. So if we put all those things together, that's how we can have change, by looking at it from the perspective of a sperm, which represents new life.
That's awesome. Thank you very much. And also, I'd like to add, since we've been locked down, locked in, quarantined, getting to know the people in our household, we're over anxious to go back to business as usual, putting our kids back in sports instead of keeping them home and teaching them how to build their mind. Instead, how many people would take that phone away from their child and say, you can have 1 hour a day? Don't go beyond that.
Oh, good luck with that.
You don't want to grow. You don't want to grow.
Nah, that's just gonna take some time. That's gonna take some time. Cause like Rob said, they was born with it in their hand.
Born with it.
That's gonna take with it. You're gonna have to supplement.
Not only that, not only are you taking a pacifier, but you taking what got them on the street today.
Yeah.
Hey, look.
You know what I'm taking, Rob? I'm taking your pacifier, because it takes a whole person to sit down and prohibit your child from doing what you don't want them to do. That's what our parents do. And that's what
my children to be. I want my children to be assholes in America. I want my children to be assholes in America. I want my children to be dissenters in America, because America has not been good to us. And maybe let me tell you something I learned.
Hey, Rob, you said the oppressor hasn't been a good human. They haven't been good humans.
I gamble, right? And I gamble on things that I feel are sure, right? And I've learned over the years that you may not like the truth, but it'll get you paid. You understand?
Yeah.
I gambled on Kaepernick. He took a knee, I took a knee with him. It got him paid. He didn't even tell me how much he got.
No, he didn't.
That motherfucker didn't even tell me that we was through boycotting.
Didn't do that neither.
So I can't fuck with him no more. Do you not understand? I want to show you something. The things that people hate the most about people are the things, really, that they hate the most about themselves. I hate reading. Shit got me wearing glasses in real life. I don't think they cute.
Well, you look just like your dad when you took the glasses off.
Hey, I didn't know y'all was gonna have a comedian tonight.
But yeah, and that's another thing, Rob. We stand up for people, and once they get what they got, they forget all about us.
Of course. Look, understand this. Understand this.
About you, he didn't know you. That's
He
why
didn't
you can invest in your own family, your own friends.
Okay, wait a minute.
Hey, Rob, let me say this real quick. Hey, Rob, let me say this real quick. In the movie, I'm Gonna Get You Sucker, you said we were protesting against the unfairness at the post office, but they were hiring that day.
Yeah.
Hey, look.
Yeah.
In Africa, anywhere you go, there is a such thing, there's a saying that stands tall in the Bible. You know what that is? You ain't gonna believe it when I tell you. There's no such thing as a free lunch.
No such thing as free lunch.
And he's saying it's a free lunch, it's something coming with it. Now, what all did Africa get with that free lunch? They got slavery, they got AIDS, they got Ebola, they got motherfucking mad cow. They got all these things. For what? Because they trusted the free lunch.
Yeah.
Now, mother, you know how I feel about a free lunch. Don't buy me shit. Because ain't no such thing as free lunch.
Hey, Rob,
when we start paying for our lunch, When we start paying for our lunch in America, we'll stop accepting anything. We're owed that. That is our bootstraps. You killed my daddy. You took my daddy's potential. You beat my mama. You raped my great-great-grandmother. Motherfucker, I want my money for that.
I would like to say that thank you so much for the opportunity to be on the show. And Brother D-Ice, you were highly recommended by Reginald Camper from Blog Talk. And I watched one of the programs that you had. The way you broke down what's going on in the city of Chicago, man, was phenomenal. So it's an honor to have you on the show. And there's also Brother Rob and also Brother Joe Howard that had the technical problems. I would like to personally salute you brothers to have a happy Father's Day. And Sister Camper, the vision that God gave you, don't stop, because the people of your generation, they taught us to keep saying yes sir, no sir. But you thinking outside of the box, you got people talking about reparations in the media. That's a gift from God. Your generation doesn't talk like that. So, hey, Brother D.I., your good work. Brother Rob, we appreciate your points. Man, it's an honor to be on the stage with you, brothers.
Hey, listen. Let me say this before we get shut this thing down. Two things. Hopefully we'll get to two things. Number one, reparations is not something that we're asking for because we want a free lunch. We want reparations because you have to pay what you owe. And I don't have some incredible speech to give niggas to calm them down. And what I would say to any white person that's on the fence is that I would have negotiated with you in 2019. Good luck with my kids. Good luck with my nephews and my nieces. You missed your window. You should have dealt with me. So this is what you get. It took 400 years to create a race that stops saying yes sir and starts saying nigga fuck you. Now that's my one point. My last point is this. My mother has always told me, and all you're getting, you don't understand. Let this be understood. And my homie Eric Eccles has always said, what's understood needs not be spoken of. I want my motherfucking money. And I want it without no strings, like you did it for every other person that you pay reparations to. I don't give a damn how ignorant we are. Give me my damn money. I pray to God my kids tear this bitch down.
Hey, Rob, hey, look, to add on to that, America won't even meet to even talk about reparations for people of color, black people that they made slaves. They paid reparations to Japan. They paid reparations to Israel. They paid reparations to Vietnam. And so America does pay reparations, but the reason they won't give you reparations, like Brother D.I. said, he wants his 10 million, because if they ever give Brother D.I. his 10 million, and then history would change itself. This will be a paradigm shift. If they can keep broken ignorant, they will never give you your money.
And that's why I asked Sister Velma the question, because the ones that's gonna go demand the reparations are the ones in the streets right now. They're rioting and looting, but they don't know what to ask for. When they get the understanding that they can march right on down to the White House and stand there and rip them barbed wire fences off of their access to that bread, I think America will understand that, man, it's time to pay them niggas.
So there's one other thing that you got to consider. There's one entity of people that it's almost impossible to argue with because we love them so much. That's our children. White people are finally arguing with their children. Did you see the police in Buffalo, New York, knock that 75-year-old white man down? Blood started coming from his ear.
Yeah.
They played that shit for 3 goddamn days. Don't you know that he was out there because you motherfuckers killed a nigga? Damn. Yeah. But they was mad about Pop Pop. Well, guess what? If Pop Pop could get us there, then come on.
Thank you all for coming tonight to be on our show. Happy Father's Day to you. And it's my dream that fathers will step up, because I feel for you from slavery, how men were separated from the family. Children were taken out of their arms, and you didn't get the opportunities perhaps that you desired. But now you have an opportunity to start all over again. And if each one reach one, if you can't get out there and protest, can you take them some water? Can you take them some lunch? Do your part. Love everybody. Do the best you can. And just let everybody do what they do, because when we die, we all have to die individually. The only thing we have to do is tell people the truth. Tell your children the truth. Thank you very much.
I'm looking in the mirror, staring at my pain. Here comes the rain, pouring down my face like the tears of a million flames. Crying out for the years that you walk away. You left me straight in the same in the room you brought me through. Through the good times, the bad times. Words are no and happiness meant to spread. It's all that we did to bring us hurt to the end. In the love like the war begins. Inside of me, let me know. So give me to you. I just can't do it with you. The story is never like the way we're going to lose. I have to let you go. I can't keep holding on. Just I've been there all night, forever after so. This only come to end, my heart will come to end. All that is come to end, and never let you go. I have to let you go. I can't keep holding on. Just I've been there all night, forever after so. This only come to end, my heart will come to end. All that is come to end, and never let you go. I never thought twice how things that could go wrong. It's like the wind came racing and brought in my soul. You said you love me, you'd be there for me. Like energy, that mystery eternity. But instead you live it so hard to stand. So every run you're all the same. We fly some flights every single night. I'm tired of fighting with you. We ain't gonna go through this anymore. Go ahead and you walk out the door. It's Friday, then we go there. So you get to there. I just can't do that with you. The story ends never. Then I wake on my toe. I had to let you go. I can't keep holding on. Just how you never rest. Forever at the zone. This only come to end. My heart will come to live. All that is come to live. And never after that. I had to let you go. I can't keep holding on. Just how you never rest. Forever at the zone. This only come to end. My heart will come to live. All that is come to live. And never after that. I can't be holding on. Since I've been there on earth, forever after so. This something come to love, my body come to love, my body come to love. You never let me down. I got to let you know. I got you to get out. This something never lasts, forever after so. This something come to love, my body come to love, my body come to love. You never let me down.